This is another video brought to you by the Ichiban Productions. Like, comment, subscribe. So welcome everyone, Happy Days are here again. We're back, and as you can see right in front of us, my goodness, we've got the Xbox Series X. So we're going to do a comparison to the Xbox One X, One S, and my first initial impressions, because I've already plugged it in and I've had a go. Oh, I've got so much to say. Full disclosure, I'd already recorded an unboxing video, but I learnt a lot about my iPad and realised that iMovie stores its videos in the library, not within the app. God knows why the app's so big. I mean, I'm talking it was 40-something gigs, so what was it storing? I do not know. Anyway, to make space to export the video, I deleted it out of the library. Foolish me, bam, my unboxing had gone, that's gone forever, so those memories would just have to live on in my mind. But anyway, I was disheartened, I was down, I was thinking, man, I sulked for a long time, I'm going to be honest with that one. And I even thought at the point, you know what, forget it, I ain't going to do no more YouTube, I've had enough of this. And lo and behold, I looked at my analytics and I sort of got 2 new subscribers overnight, and I thought, you know what, people actually engage with my content, so I ain't giving up. I've come up with a better idea to talk about the Xbox Series X, so stick around, you're going to learn an awful lot. So before I get into the comparison and the details, I wanted to tell you the story of how I managed to acquire this bad boy. Pre-order day rolled round, Ichiban was straight on a computer, maybe he was a couple minutes late after 9 o'clock, but nonetheless he went on there, bam, sold out on Amazon, you can forget it, sold out on all the websites I could find, sold out on Microsoft. I even rang Microsoft because, believe it or not, they teased me all the way through to checkout to go, no, not having none of it. And basically the guy at the other end of the line just laughed at me, so that was pretty great customer services there, Microsoft. But nonetheless, I tried Game, and I went onto the Game website, and basically it crashed, it was gone, it was down, and it was pretty much down all day. Anyway, I'd given up luck, and I thought, I should have one more try of the Game website, and lo and behold, about 3:30, boom, I could get onto the Game website. I thought, that's pretty weird. Anyway, typed it in, went to the pre-order page, and my goodness, I could pre-order it. I couldn't believe it. So bam, I pressed the button, went all the way through to payment, and my card was blocked. Brilliant, because it was an unusually expensive purchase for that time of day, they said. Very, very helpful. But luckily, bam, the emergency card came out, boom, paid, and I thought, hopefully I've sealed it, but you never know with Game. And a few days before release, I got a email from Game saying it's prepared for dispatch. I still didn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. Then all of a sudden it was dispatched. The money was taken. I was thinking, unbelievable. I can't believe that Game have actually managed to do it and pull it out the bag. Anyway, it was sent. And good old Royal Mail sent it to the wrong depot. You better believe I didn't get this on release date. It took a load of hard work and effort to find out where it was. Anyway, got it rediverted, sent back to us. Managed to arrive the next day, so it's not too bad, you know, I'm not proper burying Royal Mail here, but it did arrive. That's the day. Unfortunately, I did the unboxing, and very sad to say that's been gone. But don't worry about that. We're here to look onwards and upwards, so let's take a look at the console. I know it's the moment you've all been waiting for. Boom, cheeky edit, here it is. Oh my goodness, it still brings excitement and joy to me just seeing it here, even though I've had it for a few days. The Xbox Series X, beautiful. So when I unboxed it, my initial thoughts were, wow, this is a whopper console. It is ultra heavy. It's really quite heavy compared to the other consoles, but I suppose that's because of all the goodness inside. Now, I will admit the form factor for me, it's much better than I was expecting. In terms of those videos that I had seen about this looked really big and out of place. However, it's not nearly as bad as you think it is. It sort of fades to the back, but then again, you've got that raw power that's all inside, which draws us to it. So let's take a closer look at the console and let's compare it to what came before. Looking at the top, we've got the lovely Xbox branding, and then that's about it. And then on the front of the console here, hopefully you can see you've got your traditional Xbox button. You press that and it sort of, well, it just turns on. It feels like all the other Xboxes, so you're very familiar with that. We've got the 4K Ultra HD optical drive, but that's no different to the Xbox One S and X. So if you're a PlayStation owner previously, this will be a big upgrade for you. We've got the eject button, the sync button for the controllers, and of course the USB-A slot at the front. I will admit I'm quite disappointed there's not a USB slot. If you, by USB, of course I mean USB-C. If you watched any of my old videos, you know I love USB-C. USB-A does my head in. but I ain't going to complain because there's plenty of USB-A to C cables, so it's not too much of an inconvenience here. On the bottom here, we've got a stand, so it's a rubberized grip, so if you want to stand it up properly, it's not going to slip and slide everywhere. And on the top of the console, we've got that massive huge fan here to ventilate the console. Now, one of the things I am slightly disappointed to see, and I think you can see it better in this sort of shot here, is I thought there was going to be a glow at the top of the console, like some LEDs or something like that. No. Can't afford that. It's actually just some sort of green plastic. I'm quite disappointed in that, to be honest with you. I was expecting it to glow and look beautiful. So last thing to do is to look at the back of the console. Already positioned it so you can see the back. It is a heifer console, and I've realized, you know, by moving and manipulating it whilst I'm talking about the video, it's actually making life a bit different and a bit difficult. So here we go, we've got the HDMI out, obviously, power cable there, Ethernet cable, we've got two super speed USB-A ports at the back, and then of course we've got that ultra mega expensive storage expansion, but at least they actually exist, whereas with the PlayStation 5 I'm aware that those extra solid state drives you can plug in the back don't exist. At least this one does exist here. We've obviously got that lock there, you know, so you can chain it up so nobody can nick it. And then we've got the details about the console at the back. I was quite interested to see the manufacture date on there. I'd never ever noticed that on any of my Xbox consoles before, but the manufacture date for my particular console was the 22nd of August 2020. So that's its birthday. Maybe I'll throw a birthday party every year. Who knows? Immediately from looking at the back of the console, there are immediate differences from the Xbox One X. So bringing in my Xbox One X here so you can see the differences and things that are missing. So power, absolutely the same. Now, one of the features of the Xbox One X, whether you liked it, or the Xbox Ones in general, whether you liked it or not, was that you could have a TV input to it, which is this one here. I personally had the Switch plugged into this, so I could use my console to play the Switch. I did that because my receiver was full. Now that's gone, so you got none of that. It might mean something to you, might not mean to others. Another thing that's missing, of course, is the optical out. Again, depending on your receiver, that might be a big deal or not a big deal. For me personally, it's not a big deal, but it's a shame to lose it, of course. Ethernet's there, and that's the IR out in case you wanted an external IR to control your TVs. That's what the Xbox One was all about. The Series is not all about that. So let's take a look at it in terms of its form factor compared to the Xbox One X and the Xbox One S. And thanks Siri for contributing, as always. Boom, a second cheeky edit, 2-in-1 video. Haven't I spoilt you? So here we've got the three consoles next to each other. We've got the Xbox Series X, the Xbox One X, and the Xbox One S. Not the Series S, the One S. My goodness, what an awful naming system they've got going here, but hopefully I can call them the correct names throughout the video. If not, please forgive me, it's a bit of a tongue twister. I'm sure some of you guys know the difference between these consoles. If you don't, stick around. If you do, skip forward a little bit to the next part of the video. But just talking quickly about the similarities, differences. So they all play Xbox games, yeah. The Xbox Series X obviously is backwards compatible with almost all of the Xbox One games. So they all play the similar sort of games. Now the Xbox One S came first, of course. It had a 4K Ultra HD optical drive, the same as all of them, so they can play UHD DVDs, which is awesome, or Blu-rays I should say, because we're not that retro. Now of course that one didn't output games at 4K, this one does, and this one does it even better. Now which one do I prefer out the lot? It's got to be the brand new one, the absolute beast, the Series X. However, the One X is still a very strong console. It's just moving towards next gen. I think it's important that next what I do is I talk about what's the big differences that makes this one so much better than the rest. Key features of the Series X, I'm sure you know it already, but if you don't, this one can output 4K at 120 frames per second. Wow, that's buttery smooth, whereas this one's just 60 frames per second on certain games, but mainly 30 frames per second, and of course that one can't do the 4K at all. Next, onto the hard drives. This one of course has got that illustrious solid state hard drive, which means super quick load times. I can honestly say from trying a few games already, the load times are mind-blowing. So just to show you what I've been playing at the moment, so I've done a bit of Watch Dogs Legions. super quick to load. However, there are some glitches and issues in here which meant I lost a lot of progress on it, so this one's going to be benched for a little bit of time. We got Assassin's Creed Valhalla. This one I'm particularly enjoying. It's brand new, unopened. I got it today. This is the one I'm going to be doing this evening. And last but not least, we've got Yakuza Like a Dragon. How could I not buy this game? Because after all, if you know who that is Ichiban. He stole my name, but I respect him. I'm pretty sure I look just like him and act just like him, but we'll have to play a bit further and see if that's absolutely true. 3 beautiful games, 2 of them I've played, lightning quick load times. That SSD drive really does make a difference. These of course have the traditional hard drives, which means the slower load times. So this SSD for me personally is an absolute game changer. Of course, in addition to the ultimate performance and the massive upgrade in hard drive and processor and GPU and all that jibber jabber, it's also got what's known as the Velocity architecture, which I think again is another load of jibber jabber, which basically means that this is unbelievably powerful and we can get proper next gen things like ray tracing. And I can honestly say from playing a little bit of Watch Dogs, I have been enjoying the addition of ray tracing and those cool reflections in the puddles and things like that. It just really adds to the immersion. All 3 of these consoles can use any of the Xbox controllers. If you've seen in my previous video about the Xbox One Elite Series 2 controller, you know that's my controller of choice. Again, it works on all of them. I'm going to do a completely separate video which looks and compares the brand new Series X controller to the previous one, so look out for that one. It should be up in a few days. One other thing I think people need to be completely aware of is that because this has got different features in it in terms of what can be outputted with the 4K at 120 frames per second, as well as variable refresh rate, which I haven't even spoken about, which basically means screen tear and stuff like that is eliminated, but you will need a TV that's capable of that 4K 120 frames per second and the variable refresh rate. So your normal 4K TV won't be able to do that 120 frames per second probably, or the variable refresh rate, so you're going to need an update for those. But to take advantage of those, you've got to use the HDMI cable that's included. Now, we're used to high-speed HDMI cables for these consoles. However, this is an ultra high-speed one. You generally know what the ultra high-speed cables look like because they're a little bit thicker, but also it's printed across most of the cables saying it's that. It generally look for 8K compatible cables, and you know it's going to be good enough to run this. But use the one out the box. Don't use your old one on this one because you're going to lose some of the graphical fidelity. Check out my English language there. One last thing before I give you my final thoughts on my initial impressions about the Xbox Series X. I will briefly talk about how you set this console up. It's so super easy. You plug it all in. There's a lovely walkthrough guide, but what you do need to do is you need to download the Xbox app for your phone. Click set up a console, and then on the screen there'll be some numbers and letters, and you type them in here, it connects it through there, and then you basically finish your install on here. It's so easy, it's super easy. I'm glad they've gone that direction because it just makes the whole user interface and the user experience of setting up this so much quicker and so much smoother. So it's that time you've probably been waiting for. What are my first impressions of the console? My goodness, it feels like an absolute game changer. I cannot tell you how amazing the quick load times are. It really makes a difference and makes you sit back and reflect on all the time you've wasted for your games to load on the other console. It really is different. This one boots up way quicker than the other consoles, again saving you time, and that's not just a quick resume boot up. I'm talking full cold, unplugged, plugged in boot up. It's considerably faster than the rest, obviously because of the SSD. For me, that makes a hell of a difference. One thing and one piece of advice I would give you, for some reason, it's probably because the console's just been released, downloading stuff off the Xbox store is super slow. I have about a 50 meg connection, but it seems to operate way slower than that, and it's nothing to do with like Wi-Fi speed. I haven't got a wired connection to it. I know what you're going to say, use a wired connection, but in terms of it, it's pretty much right next to an access point. It's got 100% signal strength. The average speed's about 47, 48, but it downloads so much slower. I assume it's because of obviously a lot of people using the servers and things like that. So one bit of advice, if when you set this up you've got the opportunity to manually transfer your games across, I would highly go for that. Take it in the hard drive, plug it in and move it across as opposed to downloading for fresh. I set quite a few games to download overnight. Granted, they were done in the morning, but as soon as you get your console, you want to go. You want to go, Johnny, go, 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 go. So you're not going to have to wait for it to download. So that's a piece of solid advice for you. So in reflection, I'm probably just scraping the surface of this. So if you have any questions, please post them in the comment section below. I'll answer anything you want. If you've got any suggestions about what you want to see, do you want to see a bit of gameplay from any of the games, let me know. I'm happy to pump out videos to show you this, to give you the experience of this, because I know I'm really fortunate. I feel really lucky to be able to have one of these, because I know a lot of people struggle to get these at this current time. I want to say a massive thank you to my people that have subscribed, especially the subscribers that pushed me over, you know, from over the 40 mark. I'm now at 41 at the moment. You know, I really want to say a big thank you to those last 2 people that subscribed. It probably doesn't, they'll never know, and it probably doesn't mean a lot to them. But for me, it was those 2 subscribers that actually said that I'm going to continue with YouTube. I was that close to not bothering. So I want to say a huge, massive thank you. Please thumbs up the video if you liked it. It's a weird and wonderful one. I'd love to have seen the unboxing, but again, the unboxing one, unfortunately, is gone forever. And hopefully this is some sort of comparator, some sort of use to somebody. I hope you really enjoyed it. If you've got any recommendations about things you want to see, let me know. Coming up next, we're going to have a comparison of the Xbox Series X controller with all the historical controllers here. It might be useful for those people looking to decide. Hint and spoilers, the new controller is awesome. Not as good as the Elite Series 2 controller, but I will say it is pretty damn close. Now, fingers crossed, hope and pray with me, ladies and gentlemen. Next week, I should be getting a PlayStation 5. If Amazon hold up their end of the bargain, I did manage to get a pre-order. Fingers crossed it's going to be there. Oh, I'm so excited. So with that in mind, you know what I'm going to say. Look after yourself, take care of the people around you, and most importantly, stay out of trouble.